It all begins with a simple yud. The yud is the letter suspended in space. Suspended in the middle, nothing down, nothing above the line. Just suspended there. And this letter yud is the bindu drop. This bindu drop very often appears as blood, but it's really semen. It's the white. And this drop comes from the Tefillin of the arm. It's the knot of the Tefillin of the arm that goes next to the heart. And it's a white spot and a red spot in the heart. In this yud, what a great secret here, is in the yud. Because when you spell the yuds out, first of all, the yud is 10. When you spell the yud out, it goes yud, vav, dalet. And the dalet is the back knot of the tefillin. So we have the yud here at the arm and the dalet in the back of the head. And it's connected by the vav. But what is this vav? This is the great secret. This is the Hiddush. What I'm telling you today is the vav are the two shin on the tefillin head block. It's the 6 sides of the block, of the cube. It's Bereshit. It's the perfect number, first perfect number of 3, 2, and 1. That perfect number is also expressed, the next perfect number is 26. Excuse me, 28, which is also the number of letters in Bereshit, and the created 6 is the first perfect number of Bereshit. So we show it's perfect numbers. But the idea of the 6 here, 6 is the Vav. We have a Vav as the tefillin of the head block. And we make a Yud as Yud, Vav, Dalet. No one has said this. That Yud is 20. If we put the Yud together with its expansion, because everything comes out of the Yud. You see, the Yud also has 3 marks to it, which is like a Yud, Vav, Dalet in itself. So the full potential of the Yud is its expansion. Yud, then Yud, Vav, Dalet. The Yud, Vav, Dalet is 20. So it's 10 and 20. That's 30. 30 are the 3 heads of Keta, Chochma, and Bina. When you take the 3 sephirot, not the 3 heads here, it's the 3 heads of Rod Lo that are above Atik Yomin as Keta, Chochma, and Bina. And if you take the Kedusha letters of that, it's Kaf, Het for Chochma, Bet for Bina, that's 30. So Kaf is 20. 20 is the expansion of the Yud. And Het Bet is 10. That's the Yud itself. The full expansion of the Yud is the Keta. So we have in this Yud now the great secret here is the concept of the letter Vav. This is brought down in mysticisms. The number 6. Even Freud says 6 is sex. And Ibn Arabi brings it down in his writings about the Waw, whatever it's called in Arabic. It's the letter Vav. It's the last letter in Arabic. And this Vav has different dimensions, higher in Hebrew, in biblical Hebrew, because it's a Vav HaHipuk. It's a turnaround. But let's use the Vav as a connection. And this is the whole thing. It connects two poles. And the Yud, we're going to do some stuff with the Yud Vav Dalet. Because the Yud is 10 and the Vav Dalet is 10. But when put together, the Vav Dalet, the Dalet becomes the left leg of the Dalet. The Vav becomes the left leg of the Dalet, and that becomes a Hey. So we really have Yud Hey when we have the Yud. And the beauty of the Vav here, Yud Vav Dalet, is that you have two ways of expressing the Hey in this name of Yud Vav Dalet. You can make it Yud with the Dalet as the left leg, or you can make it Yud with the Vav as the left leg. So in this word Yud Vav Dalet, we have two Heys. The two feminine come out of that. You see? The Leah and Rachel. The higher aspects are, of course, Dalet Yud. That would be the Leah, and then the Rachel would be Dalet and Vav. So everything comes out of this Yud. But my great thing here is that the Vav at 6 are the two shins, which together, shin, make the word shesh, 6. So it's Yud on the knot of the left arm tefillin, shesh, 6, Vav, as the four legs, the 3 legs and the 4 legs, the 2 letters shin make the word shet, shesh. And then the beauty there is that there's an extra Vav. And this is to show you it's a Vav. That it's made up of Vavs. And this 7 Vavs there could also be considered the 7 words of Bereshis. Bereshis, and then there's an extra word. But this Vav that's on the head of the tefillin as the cube, an obvious Vav. And then there's a cube on the arm, an obvious vav, and there's two vavs in the word vav, Tiferet and Yesod. And of course, Tiferet is vav. I mean, it's vav from the top. When you started from Keta, Hokmah, Bina, Hesed, Gevura, Tiferet. But when you start from Hesed, from the lower, it's Hesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod is Vav. And that's why the letter Vav is Tiferet and Yesod. And if you really want to know, the Aleph in the middle, because I think the middle letter of the Torah is a Vav, a large Vav. And the middle letter of Tiferet is an Aleph. And so in a certain sense, you put the Aleph in the middle of the Vavs, Vavims, and you get 13. And these are the 13 attributes of mercy. And the Echad. The Echad is two Vavs on either side and an Aleph in the middle. That's the absolute 13. And the 13 are the two legs of the Het, the right leg Vav, and the left leg is Zion. Brought together under the Chuppah is 13. And Echad itself is Aleph, Het, Dalet. And there's a Vav inside. You see, there's two Vavs in the Aleph, in the Echad. There's an Aleph, it's two Vavs in the Echad. There's an Aleph, a Vav in the Aleph, in the middle dimension of the Aleph. And then there's a Vav in the word, in the letter Het, as the right leg. And then the Dalet. And you see, the whole idea of the Vav is the turning around also of the past and the future to the future and the past. It's the Hipuk. Which is the great secret. So but my Hiddush here is that the letter Vav is found in the Tefillin. As the Yud, Vav is 6, the sixth letter, the shins, and then the Dalet in the back. And that Dalet is really a double Dalet, because you say Ehad, double Dalet. And that's why it's written as a double Dalet. And that double Dalet to me is a mem. It's written Dalet and then Dalet. It's a hipuk. Dalet and then Dalet, which shows the hipuk of the Vav here. So Dalet and then double Dalet is the mem. As the hipuk. And a final mem. makes the words Yud, Vav, two shins of 6, Vav, Mem. Let me say it again. Yud, Vav, Mem. And Yud, Vav, Mem is Yom. That's what I did yesterday. I don't know if I forget if I put it on. And Yom is always Yom HaKippurim. Yom Kippur. Hipuk. Word, the letters Hipuk. And in this level of Yom HaKippurim, of Yom, because what is Yom? Yom is Yud, Vav, final Mem, and the gematria of Yud, Vav, Mem, again, are double letters. Not double letters, but the Kedusha is equal to the dinam. Yud is Yud, and then the dinam, Vav Dalet, 10. Vav is Vav, and then the Vav, dinam, 6. And then Mem is Mem. Mem Kedusha, Mem for dinam. So there are 2 56s. 256, 2 times 56 is 112. So on the Tefillin, when you look at this as a Vav, and you look at the back as a final Mem, you have Yom, which is Yud Hey Vav Hey, plus Elohim. That's 112. And so you have no difference here from this 112 that you're on the head with as Yom HaKippurim. And what do you finish with before the shofar? What do you finish with? What's your last words of Yom HaKippurim? Adonai hu Elohim. Adonai hu Elohim. Or Adonai hu ha Elohim. And you say that 7 times. And you start with the Shema. And you start with the Shema. And then you say what the angels say. Baruch Shem Kavod Malkutos Li'olam Va'ed. You say that 3 times. So it's 1 time Shema, 3 times with that, and then 7 times Adonai hu Elohim. And what you're doing here, because when you say the Shema, you have the ayin, the eye, Shema, large ayin, this is the 3rd eye. And then you have the dalet in the back of the head. And there are 6 words in the Shema, which correspond to the Vav, and to the Bereshith, as I've said. And this Yom is found, the whole secret is the Vav. Vav. Va'ahavta. So in this Vav, that's for me, this is miraculous. Just miraculous. This connecting link is the Vav. It's the 6. And we know that the connecting link is the Yesod. The 6 Sephirot, 6 Sephira of Zir Anpen, of man. And this Sephirot of Yesod goes into Malkus. And when you Yesod into Malkus, you get 80 plus 496. It's 576. Plus 9 letters, plus 1 for the word, that's 586. And that's Shofar. And that's Yerushalayim. And that's the full spelling of Yesod. And that's the last thing that you're going to hear on Yom HaKippurim, is the shofar blast of the entry of Yesod with Malkus as a completion of the masculine and the feminine. And this comes all from the Yud. It's the drop, the suspended Yud, that then goes into a Vav, Dalet, and the Yud and the Yam. And these are all etched in stone, because we make a knot in the leather. We have a engraving in the box, and we have a knot in the back. These of the leather, of the iron, of the iron, not the aleph, of the ore. And this physicalization is from the letter ayin, the large ayin. That's why we have an aleph in front of the eyes, because the aleph in front of the eyes is beyond the self, so to speak. And then we have the ayin of the Shema, which is the change from or to or. From or, meaning light, ayin, aleph, vav, or resh, into ayin, meaning skin, ayin, vav, resh. So this vav that's found, I'm going to be doing some vav work with the other letters. But the beauty here is that everything comes out of the drop of the Yud, because that's the pen on the paper. And then when you take it off, there's 3 marks. It's And that Yud, therefore, becomes a Yud, Vav Dalet, even in the Yud essence. And that Yud, Vav Dalet essence is found manifested in the Tefillin. Obviously, there's more to say.